This Top 10 Fantasy Football Tight Ends edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. Use the promo code SGP50 and get a 50% deposit bonus. Play, win, and get paid. We're also brought to you by Amazon. Log on to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Amazon. Bookmark that link every time you shop at Amazon to score sweet savings and support the podcast. Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer Dog?
Excited to talk about some tight ends, Sean.
Oh, yeah.
Your favorite.
You're right, Ryan. As a young boy, I always dreamed of being a backup tight end for the Philadelphia Eagles. Even then, I realized I was most likely not going to come out of that tunnel and be a starting tight end. I'd already resigned myself to the fact that I'd be a backup tight end. So, yeah, it is. I have a connection with tight ends. One of my close personal friends, Hall of Fame tight end, Rob Gronkowski.
You really like double tight end sets?
Exactly. I love a two tight end set. Speaking of Bill Belichick, the baby whale himself.
It's a baby fucking wheel, man.
They Barstool tweeted out a photo of him on vacation with his, attractive wife saying, "Yeah, he went to the Greek Islands and brought back a tight end."
Wow. Okay.
Indeed.
I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
Just like we put a ring on it with Kyle Lowry.
Colby was really proud of his Photoshop.
He actually did that.
He actually did the Photoshop. So check that out over on Instagram.com/sportsgamblingpodcast.
It's awesome. He knows how to use Photoshop.
He does.
Should learn WordPress.
He figured that out, yeah. But, calling back to that joke, it was Kyle Lowry. Someone tweeted out that he had a fat ass in a ring, and some of you bitches can't relate. So then Colby photoshopped a chick's giant ass on Kyle Lowry.
I mean, now that I know that, well done. Well, need to give that man a raise.
Don't let that get to his head, right? He's going to start wanting to do 3-hour megapods with Patty C breaking down week potential. He's going to break down the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, you should.
That hasn't happened yet.
You should check out the college experience. They're almost all the way through the season.
They're
breaking
maniacs.
down every game.
They're previewing every game.
I think they're on week 11.
11 weeks ahead of time.
4 months ahead of time.
Ideally, this is an evergreen episode. So if you're just checking this out normally, or hey, if this is the middle of August and you're just doing your fantasy football research now, we are taping this June. What's today, Ryan? June 20th?
21st.
June 21st. Things could change before the regular season, but I listened to our NBA podcast, and while it was a fun podcast, it's the NBA draft. No one really gives a shit. The draft isn't that exciting. I was listening to Bill Simmons' podcast, and he go, why are we not doing this in 2 nights? The fans want 15 minutes between each pick. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
The NBA draft was, I mean, I watch. It's something to throw on, but you can't compare it to the National Football League, the pageantry. No one, 100,000 people aren't coming to an outdoor version of the NBA draft. It's just not happening. I like the NBA, but we knew, a lot of the picks were already out there. There was like a bunch of trades which were kind of interesting, but not, I don't know.
Yep. I had a great idea for a tweet the other day, but I'm still taking to Twitter right now. Yes. @KramerCentric, Sean.
Slowly easing your foot into the water of social media.
Wait, the NBA draft happened? Why? We got into this a little bit.
Yes.
Why do the Bill Simmonses of the world, is it Simmonses? Bill Simmons
real
of
quick,
the world.
I'm going to jump in before I forget. What annoys me is that they try and say the NBA is a 365-day a year league. No, There's only one league that you can talk about 365 days of the year, Ryan. And they don't need 82 games to do it.
Nope.
They need 16 fucking games because it's the greatest game on the earth, the National Football League. And of course, Ryan, as we break down these Fantasy Football Tight Ends. This podcast, as all our podcasts and our entire podcast network, it's presented by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag is the official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast. You want to deposit, withdrawal using Bitcoin? You don't know how to do that? All you got to do is go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Click that news tab. I wrote a nice blog explaining how to deposit and withdrawal on Bitcoin so you can cash a ton over at MyBookie.ag. They already got win totals up. They don't have NFL MVP up because I have a gut feeling about one Carson Wentz. I wanted to get down early on it. But they have week one. Week one NFL lines are up. Will we be in Las Vegas, Ryan, for the National Football League week one?
Long. Cox.
Lock that up. And, of course, lock up an account over at MyBookie.ag using the promo code SGP50. I didn't mean to be rude, Ryan, and interrupt you there.
No, important business to get to. Yes, we will be out there week one. Sean, I already have a full day of fantasy football drafts. and I said I wasn't going to do it, but I got one on Saturday too. So full day on Friday, got one on Saturday.
Oh my God!
Here's my problem. But we will be there, so stay tuned for that. Where will we watch games?
Our pal Jay Cornegie over at the Superbook. He always hooks us up.
He's gonna hook us up.
Football Central over there at the Westgate.
Yeah, it feels like the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, I'll hit him up. I'll try to get us a table that we can hang at.
We need a SGP VIP table.
That's the goal.
And maybe we can throw in a couple giveaway tickets. See if we can pull that off.
Oh, wow.
See, that's the promotion
but I don't
stuff
think I don't think you need tickets during regular NFL season.
Yeah, you know.
Maybe they're leaning that way.
Times are changing. Here's my problem, Sean.
Yes.
We have the Bill Simmonses of the world and these NBA enthusiasts screaming about how exciting this NBA draft is. It should be a 2-night event. The NBA is 24/7, 365. No, it's not.
No.
Anthony Davis getting traded, like why? That's not a big. It's not a big news cycle. I get it. That it's cool. It's a big news because a big time player is moving teams. But all right, who gives a shit? It was always going to happen. The NBA draft. All right, any excitement? No.
If Zion got traded, that'd be pretty.
Nothing
awesome.
exciting. The Knicks got R.J. Barrett. What the fuck? No one is excited about the. All right, so here's the other thing. We probably should do the summer league thing sometime. That it is in Vegas. It does seem like
you got to get to Vegas in July.
But even then, thank you for stealing my thunder. Vegas in July, sitting in a shitty gymnasium all day watching rec league quality basketball. I don't know.
It's a little better than rec league, and I guess I would be excited to see Zion. But I have a feeling they're not going to let Zion play summer league, right? Is that crazy?
You know who will be playing summer league? Ahmed Hill from Virginia Tech on the Brooklyn Nets. Even I barely care about that. Anyway,
indeed, Ryan, I'm enjoying a delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee. They're not a sponsor, and normally I don't throw out free plugs, but
Jesus,
I picked up a Dunkin' Donuts. They have one now in Burbank because right before the podcast, we just played some golf in at our favorite public course, DeBell. I played pretty much like shit, although I did hit a sweet 25-foot putt for birdie. You played, what would you give yourself, a solid?
I birdied the hole before. I was hitting frozen ropes off the tee, which is very rare for me.
You had some nice drives, but then couldn't finish.
Yep. Classic me. And Sean, just for the record, we only play at public golf courses here on the Sports Gambling Podcast.
No
need to qualify that.
No need indeed. But shout out to Dunkin' Donuts. And again, Dunkin' Donuts, one of my favorite.
Totally not a sponsor.
No, not a sponsor. Would I love Dunkin' Donuts to send me some free Dunkin' Donuts gift cards? I would love that. I run on Dunkin'. The problem is I don't find myself over in Burbank enough. And maybe I would find myself in Atwater Village more if I had a couple Dunkin' Donuts gift cards.
Sean, do you see all this empty real estate here?
Oh, maybe we could put some I enjoyed a frosted strawberry donut and a delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee. Again, this is
frosted strawberry donut. That
delicious.
While you talk, I'm looking that up at Urban Dictionary.
It's just the what do you think? It's some sort of weird
100%. This is something horrible.
Ryan, don't muddy up this because I'm going to use this audio to try and send it to Dunkin' Donuts. What I'm getting at is everyone that's listening to this podcast, you now can watch the podcast over at youtube.com/sportsgamblingpodcast. We're going to be doing a bunch more video content, but if you're listening to this on iTunes or whatever and you want to check us out in podcast form, see what we look like, see me in my golf outfit as I break down the top 10 fantasy football tight ends while enjoying a delicious Dunkin' Donuts coffee, courtesy of Dunkin' Donuts. Well, not really courtesy. I mean, I bought it, but they hooked it up. Great customer service over there. Top-notch organization. Again, not an ad, but I just love Dunkin' Donuts. All right, enough about Dunkin' Donuts. Let's get to it.
Real quick, a frosted strawberry, Sean. When you're doing it in the butt and cause her asshole to prolapse.
Oh, my God.
That is a disgusting act.
I love how they use it in a sentence too. Oh.
Yeah, in case you needed some framing there.
UrbanDictionary.com, also not a sponsor.
Let's get to it, Kramer. You have the honors. We're gonna go backwards from 10 to number 1, breaking down our top 10 fantasy football tight ends.
Going backwards, talking about tight ends. Sean,
give me your number 10 tight end.
Well, I feel like for number 10, you got to be throwing a bit of a – I guess you're going for it at this point, right? You're taking a guy – I'm guessing a 10th tight end is going to be going in like the later rounds probably.
Well, and that's also begs the bigger question. Do you have a strategy when it comes to tight ends, or do you just lump tight ends in the kind of pass catcher receiver thing? I think that's a mistake.
This year?
Yeah.
This year, I think I will most likely target Ertz, Kelce, Kittle, that tier 1.
Well, the thing is, because, in a Yahoo league, right, you have a tight end slot.
The slot. How's the slot?
And you can only use it for tight end. I think a lot of people look past the tight end when really that could be your 4th receiver, right? You have your 2 receivers, then you have your slot.
The slot. How's the slot?
Where you ideally put in a pass-catching running back or a good 3rd receiver position. The tight end is a secret 4th receiver slot that doesn't get used enough.
Oh, and I think the big thing, and obviously it depends on your league, and a lot of leagues, like the FFPC leagues I'll be participating in, they allow 2 flexes where you can play additional tight ends.
Yeah.
They have that 1.5 per catch. If we're are we doing standard PPR here?
Yes.
Not that it really matters, but I agree with you, and I also think their tight end is deeper than it's been. Like the last couple of years, the tight end position has been very deep. But all of that being said, I still think my strategy will be I will go get Kelce, Kittle, or Ertz early, especially in an FFPC format. If I don't get one of those guys, I feel like the next tier is quite wide. And I'm not even trying to put out these awesome puns. and honestly, like I think for me, the guy I'm going to throw 10th, I've seen him in this realm. It's going to be Vance McDonald. And I'll tell you why, Sean. I think it's just upside.
All right. Well, we'll save it. Save it for where you got him in your top 10.
He's my number 10.
Oh, okay.
I'm going backwards. I was talking it up.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to jump in.
Well, it's Vance McDonald, and I think it's Big Ben will throw to the tight end. It's not going to be sexy. I think Vance McDonald gives him something at the tight end position he hasn't had much of. He's got that speed. And again, when you're talking about the 10th tight end, you're talking about mid to late rounds. So I think you can definitely take a stab at a guy like this. So many athletes at the tight end position.
I have Vance McDonald on my list. I have him higher.
Oh.
I'll save him. I'll save my takes on him for when I get to him.
You saved that tight end.
In my slot.
The slot. How's the slot?
My number 10 tight end for the New York Football Giants.
Oh.
Give me Evan Ingram, and possibly a courtesy here. Evan Ingram, super talented guy. You think would benefit from possibly more targets with the boat trip docking in Cleveland, a.k.a. Odell Beckham Jr. However, for me, there's 2 red flags that don't allow me to move him higher up on the list.
What's
One,
that?
Legitimate questions about quarterback. I mean,
have you not seen Daniel Jones?
Yes, I have.
The chip is so big on his shoulder. Looks like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
there's legit questions at quarterback and injury plagued. And it wasn't just, hey, he blew out an ACL, he was out the entire season. It seemed like a bunch of kind of weird nagging stuff and different injuries, like a concussion, a knee injury. He's sitting out of OTAs. Sitting out of OTAs, kind of a red flag, means you're not getting that getting in a good rhythm with the quarterback. You're not building any sort of chemistry with possibly the new guy. Those are all reasons I don't like him higher. That being said, he is an athletic guy who can catch the ball. So, number 10, Evan Ingram.
Oh, interesting. So, funny enough, I have him number 9. I think he has some significant upside. I didn't like him last year. I like him more this year just because there's a number of targets to be distributed, and I think we're going to see him running a lot of friendly routes. Eli has always thrown to the traditional tight end a ton. I just wonder with Evan Ingram running more of the slot, you could also use the Victor Cruz.
The slot. How's the slot?
The Victor Cruz comp. Unfortunately, I think the best thing Evan Ingram does is stretch the middle of the field, and that, as we know, Sean, not Eli Manning's strong suit. That would be why I only have him at 9. I think Evan Ingram, legitimately just because of the volume, he could end up being at the top of that kind of tier after Kelce, Kittle, and Ertz. So he's going to be my number 9 guy.
Coming in at number 9 from the Super Bowl champs in 2000.
Oh, here we go.
2017 season Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Why do you have Zach Ertz so low, Sean?
Dallas Goedert.
Oh,
that's right. A second tight end cracks the top 10 list. I'm sure your argument is you're embarrassing yourself, Sean. You're a crazy homer. Let's take a look at Dallas Goedert, an extremely athletic, pass-catching tight end. He's coming off a rookie season. He had 33 receptions, 4 of which for touchdowns, and that's not even including his 75-yard touchdown against the Cowboys that called back on some horrific, god-awful pass interference play. That's not even talking about that. The entire offseason, there's been one name that's been mentioned every single press conference, and that is Dallas Goedert. Who's the guy making waves at OTAs? Dallas Goedert. Why are they going to run even more 2 tight end sets than they have previously? Dallas Goedert. Who's going to be getting more red zone opportunities? Dallas Goedert. That guy is going to be getting a ton of work. I know it's crazy to have a second tight end this late, but I think it makes sense that he's going to beat out a decent number of tight ends because of how much they plan on using him, in particular in the red zone.
Sean, you're just embarrassing the brand.
I got him going for 50 touchdowns, or sorry, 55 touchdowns. No, I got him 50 receptions and 6 touchdowns.
Okay.
And I think that'll crack the top 10 of tight ends.
Okay. For my number 8 guy, I feel like I'm zigging a little bit here, Sean.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Austin Hooper. Hear me out. He's gonna have a ton of volume again, and while I think he will have some variance, it's clear we've had problems with certain receivers named Julio finding the end zone. I do worry with who's the new offensive coordinator in Atlanta. Dirk Cutter.
Really?
Dirk Cutter. He's done something with the tight end for the past couple of years in Tampa Bay. So, the reason Vance McDonald and Evan Ingram are behind him is I just think there's a high variance injury possibility there with both those guys. So, Austin Hooper, I think he has a very high floor. I think he's not going to be a popular guy. I haven't seen him in any other top 10 list. But, Sean, I do have a stat here. He played 76% of their offensive snaps last year.
Yeah.
There weren't many guys who played more.
Get a lot of games in the dome.
You get a lot of games in the dome, and you get a Matt Ryan his arm's not getting stronger. So, okay. Austin Hooper at my 8th spot.
He did not crack my top 10, unfortunately, for Austin Hooper.
I have him. What ends up happening when you like guys more than the average is you end up, especially if you play best ball, you end up getting them on every team. So I've not done a draft where I didn't get Austin Hooper yet. Putting a lot of stock in Matty Ice.
Explain again for people who don't know. This is this is the FFPC format where tight ends for some reason get 1.5. Is there any sort of explanation why they get a 1.5 per reception?
It makes more players relevant because you have the 2 flex spots.
Okay.
So by doing that, you're juicing up the tight end value, thus making more of them relevant. Period.
Okay.
Who's your 8 guy?
My 8 guy. He's a lot lower than the talking heads will have you believe, right? This is a guy who I think was pretty fraudulent last year.
Okay.
Got a lot of garbage yards. Decent tight end, but highly, highly overrated. And that is George Kittle.
Oh boy. Why are you out to get George Kittle?
Well, I'm out to get
This is hilarious.
Get George Kittle for a number of reasons. First, if you look at the 2018 AP All-Pro team, first tight end, Travis Kelce. Okay, that makes sense. Second tight end, George Kittle. Are you kidding me? George Kittle set the yardage mark for a tight ends all time, right? 1377. That's not bad.
Why are you angry about this?
Because I'm a man who's passionate about tight ends, Ryan.
I just don't. This is all about the fact that Zach Ertz got boned, right?
He had 1,377 yards off 88 receptions and 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wide open offense.
Zach Ertz had 1,163 yards, but 8 touchdowns and 116 receptions.
So less efficient.
In a playoff team.
Sean, George Kittle is objectively one of the top 3 tight ends. You're crazy.
Completely disagree.
You're crazy.
You look. I went through. I watched George Kittle highlights. Look at the score. Look at those big plays that he was making. It was when the game was already out of hand and he was getting a bunch of garbage yards. It was also because CJ Beathard was his quarterback. CJ Beathard has no business being in the NFL. And if you have no business being in the NFL, who are you going to throw to? You're going to just throw it up to the guy you played college football with. That was why George Kittle's numbers were so crazy high. When Jimmy G gets back, George Kittle's not going to have 1,000 yards.
Okay.
That's my prediction. That was a crazy aberration. You watch that guy run routes.
He's a freak. He's super athletic.
He's there. There's no way he's going to match that similar productivity. I just don't see it. What do you predict he's going to have? Catches, yardage.
I think he's going to be a part of that offense because what else do they where is the speed on that offense on the outside?
Okay, that's a decent point, but I'm saying I just think a lot of it got inflated because they were playing games that didn't matter. And maybe they'll be in that position again this year. I think they'll be a little bit more competitive than they were last year. I think offenses are going to or defenses are going to react to what George Kittle did last year. And again, I think he's a good tight end. I just don't think he's top 5.
Again, I think we'll get to the top 3, but I think those guys. He's in the top 3. I think you're making a bold statement here, Sean. Perhaps
so your top 3 is the same as every other fantasy football person in America.
I think it's a clear top tier.
Okay.
I think the rest of the way, I think there's plenty of room for variance.
He's a tier 2 player.
All right.
He's a tier 2 tight end.
Wow. Okay. Well, for my number 7 guy, Sean, I like O.J. Howard. I see him a lot higher, and I for whatever reason, I just have this block with him. I know he's kind of more of a big play guy, but they definitely seem to be getting some chemistry. Jameis, we have to imagine that they're going to look to O.J. Howard to stretch the field with Bruce Arians. That's kind of his style, I feel. And again,
no risk it, no biscuit.
Another guy in this second tier of tight ends that I think if you don't get one of the top guys in your definition, so maybe if you're Sean, you only want Zach Ertz, but if you don't get that guy, I think you wait and just grab one of these guys. So O.J. Howard's going to be my 7th guy.
Okay. Yeah, I got O.J. Howard a little higher than 7. Get to him in a second. My number 7, Eric Ebron. I mean, last year was Ebron mania.
Yeah,
he probably won some people some serious money in DraftKings. I think he had a couple 3 touchdown games. He had 14 touchdowns, which was, and then that's not even including what he did in the playoffs.
We'll see some regression there.
Yeah, there's got to be some regression, especially with the Colts getting Jack Doyle back. And the Colts, if you read the local stuff, they seem pretty excited to have him back. So he had 13 regular season, 1 in the playoffs. But, and he got 66 receptions, 750 yards. I think he's still going to be – I think he's kind of hit his stride. I think him and Luck have some legit chemistry. Again, he's playing in that dome. I don't know about the rest of the AFC South defense. Maybe Jacksonville's a good defense. We'll see. I think the Colts did hit their stride second half of the season. I think Eric Ebron's going to be pretty solid. Not those crazy numbers he put up like last year, but I would take him in this spot.
I mean, I think you're low on him, and we'll get to him in a bit.
Oh, okay. Who's your number 6?
I'm definitely not a fan of David Njoku in general, but I just how does he not just crush it with this offensive? Like, I mean, think of the offense. There's a lot of people that cover that aren't David Njoku. And I kind of went through this similar thing when I'm breaking these down. It's like, does a great receiver help or hurt the tight end? Because in one way, it's like, well, they're going to shade coverage, but in the other way, they're also going to eat up a bunch of their targets. So it's interesting to kind of decide, and I think it depends on the system and what type of high-profile receiver they are. Odell Beckham and my boy Jarvis Landry, they're going to eat up a lot of targets. They are.
And certainly a lot of attention. Yeah. I didn't have Njoku making my top 10.
I just don't. So when I was going through this, because a guy who is in a lot of top 10s just because of the offense, I guess, that I don't get is Jared Cook. And I see Njoku all over the board, and I just think maybe I have him at 6 because of that ceiling. And maybe I have him at 6 because when he's gonna go off in some games. I think he's gonna be more of a boom and bust guy, but I just think there's gonna be enough big plays there because of his speed, because of the way that defenses are gonna be spread thin. I mean, again, Njoku and Beckham, that's a good dual speed threat. Baker seems to like to sling the rock around. Although he's, some chemistry issues maybe.
Well,
talking a little shit about another man's contract. You don't mow another man's lawn, Sean.
Yeah, the veteran players got around and started talking to him.
Things are starting to go south.
Yeah, to me, I didn't put Njoku in my top 10, and I think to me it was, I agree with those points. They make sense. To me, not putting Njoku in my top 10 was just a response to the Baker hype.
Okay.
The Baker hype to me has gotten a little out of control. I wasn't super high on him going in. I really liked what I saw out of him rookie year. But, if you look at MVP odds, he's there right behind Patrick Mahomes. I think we need to pump the brakes a little bit on some of the Baker mania that's getting out of control. I get it. If you're Cleveland, I would be jacked out of my mind. I would be saying we're going to the Super Bowl. He's going to win an MVP. But as an outsider, I think we have to pump the brakes on Cleveland figuring it all out. Last year, they kind of were just that perfect under-the-radar team, and they had Hugh Jackson, so anything besides Hugh Jackson was a step up. Once they got rid of the Hugh effect, they had a chance to kind of find themselves. They won some close games. They had an easy schedule. No one took them seriously. I think this year, getting back to that 7-9 is going to be a lot of work. And now maybe they are the team that makes the leap. I haven't done all my research yet for the division previews, but I don't know. I'm pumping the brakes on the Baker hype, and I think that's why I didn't put Njoku in here. My number 6 tight end, Vance McDonald.
Oh, wow.
You made some great points from earlier. I had him a little bit higher. I think Big Ben is getting older. He's going to need some easy completions, and Vance McDonald is that guy. Jesse James, you didn't mention this when you were grading Vance McDonald. Jesse James, the other tight end, he's not there anymore. Along with Antonio Brown, that's a combined 200 targets up for grabs. Juju will certainly eat into some of that, but I think there's a lot of room here for Vance McDonald. And Pittsburgh, they've had some real issues over the years with their defense, but their offense always seems to be productive, especially from a fantasy point of view.
Yeah. Nothing to add there. You nailed it. I spoke about it earlier. It does seem I do think there's going to be a random receiver there that gets a bunch of targets. It's Pittsburgh. They always seem to figure that out.
I just think there's a nice little spot there. An aging Ben Roethlisberger wants to throw it to guys who already know the system, already familiar. He already has some chemistry with, and I think Vance McDonald could be one of those guys. Who do you got number 5, Kramer?
Well, number 5, I think this is where you have, at least for me, this is the start of they have potential to be tier 1 tight ends, and that's Hunter Henry. I think I'm maybe even low on him at 5. Obviously, there's he's coming back from a serious injury. He did get back on the field last year. That was good to see. And Phillip Rivers, he likes to throw to the tight end. So
San Diego Superchargers charge.
While I earlier said if you're not getting a top-tier guy, you probably want to just sift through the tier 2 guys until there's only a couple guys left. I'm okay if you want to grab some Hunter Henry stock along the way.
I'm actually a little higher.
Because it just, if he's healthy, it's hard to see him not flirting with tier 1. It's hard to see him not flirting with putting up the similar numbers to a guy like George Kittle or even Zach Ertz, Sean. So Hunter Henry's going to be my number 5.
Did Decker text you as well that he ran into Phillip Rivers?
Yeah, it was a group text, Sean.
Yeah, I thought you were included on it, but yeah, he ran into Phillip Rivers on Father's Day, and Phillip had like this giant Sprinter van. I think all 9 kids were in the back. Where did he run into him? At like a
was it a Jersey Mike's or something?
Jersey Mike's, yeah. And he just went up to him and said, like, hey, happy Father's Day, go Chargers. I'm like, did you get a picture? He's like, no. I'm like, Decker, come on, man. This is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
That's because he was off in the corner stimulating himself.
He had no blood in his head. It had all rushed to a different orifice.
Because on Father's Day, he met the man he wishes
I know, that's
was
the
his
guy.
father.
That's the guy. And, yeah, it's got to be the craziest Father's Day when you have that many kids. Number 5 for me, O.J. Howard. You mentioned him earlier, Ryan. Tampa Bay, the Bucs, actually, you may not know this, led the league in passing yards and fantasy points per game from the QB. In spite of all their QB back and forth between Fitzmagic and Jameis Winston, they actually put up pretty consistent fantasy numbers, not necessarily wins. And again, they're in a similar situation. Adam Humphries and Deshaun Jackson both out. I think O.J. Howard, you nailed it. I think he's a guy that could thrive in a Bruce Arians system. I could see him getting 100 targets easily. I think Arians is going to simplify the offense for Jameis Winston, a guy who's had trouble grasping concepts at times.
I love how you called him Jameson twice.
Jameson, yeah, I've been drinking a little Jameson.
3 times.
Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston.
No, I agree with you.
That's a classic old man move.
It does worry me.
It
does worry me.
He can't, Jameis Winston, he can't grab concepts. Just Uber drivers.
He's got to throw the ball somewhere, and I think we're not talking about running back, Sean, but Ronald Jones is another one because of the Bruce Arians thing. So I'm with you. I think this offense has potential. Part of the reason they put up so much last year is they were just dog shit. So
yeah, and again, the defense probably toughens up a little bit with a guy like Arians in there. So maybe they won't be in blowout situations as much.
Yeah, I mean he's a Hokie, so go Arians.
All right, who's your number 4?
Who's my number 4? Well, again, I think this guy has the ability to climb into tier 1, even with the touchdown regression coming. It's clear Andrew Luck, who is the king of the floater, just likes to throw it up to Eric Ebron.
Yeah,
teams knew this. T.Y. Hilton was dragging his leg around last year, and Eric Ebron was still going out and just catching jump balls. So, again, I think it's very easy for you to make the argument, well, he's not going to catch 14 touchdown passes next year. And I understand
it was easy.
I understand the statistical approach. As he had a great year. He's probably not going to do that, but he was a monster last year. Yeah. And I just don't see what changes for Andrew Luck to not continue to go to that success.
Yeah, I think Yeah, to me he's going to be like 7 touchdowns.
Oh, wait, one more note about Eric Ebron. He was once drafted ahead of Odell Beckham. That's got to make him good, right? Wouldn't that be the ultimate? I guess it's irony if he ends up being a better player because Beckham washes out in Cleveland.
Oh, Ryan, have you turned on your buddy?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm not rooting for him anymore. I'm not like you and Nick Foles. Like, hey, good job, Nick.
What did I?
You're in the AFC now. I can root for you.
When did I root for Nick Foles?
Always.
I rooted for him when he was on Eagles.
I'm right now. We're gonna make
Nick
a bet.
Foles has a giant cock and won a Super Bowl MVP. That's a little different than Odell boat trip Beckham.
We're gonna make a wager right now.
Okay.
That you will be finding yourself rooting for Jacksonville this year when we are watching games in the very awesome Sports Gambling Podcast studio.
Who's Jacksonville playing?
Doesn't matter. If it's on, you're pulling for Big Dick Nick.
I do have a soft spot for Nick Foles.
And no pun intended. Who's your number 4, Sean?
Kyle Rudolph.
Ooh.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I don't love him here. But I included him here simply because of the consistency. The Vikings paid him, which means they have to use him. Last year he had a little bit of a drop tight end or touchdown wise. He only had 4 touchdowns. If you look at the rest of his kind of run, he's been super consistent putting up higher touchdowns.
They did draft Irv Smith.
Yeah, but I mean previous touchdowns 8, 7, 5. Like I think he was just. I think he'll just get a little bit more of a run. To me, this is what Kirk Cousins does. Like he loved Jordan Reed. I think he's going to build on what he had going with Kyle Rudolph. I like a dome tight end. Maybe he's a little bit high, but yeah, I threw in Kyle Rudolph at number 4.
Let me help you out here. Travis Kelce, 95% of their offensive snaps. Zach Ertz, 92%. George Kittle, 88%. Kyle Rudolph, 88%. So
there you go.
A lot of volume there.
It's in a dome.
It's in a dome.
What more do you need to say?
Gotcha. Number 3.
Well, Kirk Cousins is great at just some garbage stats, and
you rank
Kyle Rudolph seems to be the way that
you ranked Kyle Rudolph ahead of George Kittle. It's cool.
Yeah.
My number 3 is George Kittle. It's a volume play. Yes, you make a fair argument, Sean. He will have to get acclimated to the very good-looking Jimmy Garoppolo. But I'm Shanahan's a good offensive coordinator. Shanahan realizes he has a weapon. Shanahan will get George Kittle the ball. George Kittle's explosiveness and top speed is what makes him interesting because that's how you turn a 10-yard grab into a 70-yard grab. So again, this is the top tier. George Kittle is the number 3 guy. I think you can safely target one of these top 3 guys, and you will have essentially another wide receiver 1/2.
Yeah, I agree with your concept, but not with placing Kittle in there. I don't think he's gonna be near. I don't think he'll be. I mean, what did I have him? 8? Yeah, I don't think he'll be a top 5 fantasy tight end.
I want to know who your number 3 is. Is it Hunter Henry?
It is Hunter Henry, Ryan. He's got a full year removed from the ACL injury. Tyrell Williams no longer in the picture. But, I mean, Hunter Henry, his rookie year, he had 8 touchdowns. Antonio Gates, not re-signed yet. And this is
they're going to sign him and just tell him to run 6 yards down the field and stop.
He's on the Kyle Lowry offseason program. I love Hunter Henry. He has a lot of like Gronk-esque qualities about the way he runs his routes, his blocking. He's just a guy I think that's going to be on the field a bunch. And by all accounts, he's fully healed from that ACL injury. And it just seems like he's going to have a really productive year. I think this is kind of like the beginning of the end for Phillip Rivers. This is This is like the last year of him being highly productive, I think. And I just Hunter Henry seems like he's going to be a part of it.
Got it, Sean. I love Hunter Henry this year. I definitely will end up with Hunter Henry stock.
Number 2.
Well, it's your boy, Zach Ertz. It's hard to go away from Zach Ertz. I guess the concern would be how's the chemistry? Who's the backup quarterback?
Nate Sudfeld.
How's the chemistry between Sudfeld and Ertz?
Great.
Okay. Because we all know Mr. Carson Wentz is playing under 12 games this year.
I'll take that bet.
Again, volume play. He's on the field almost every down. He catches the ball and falls down. He's never going to get you negative points for a fumble, and he's going to catch 100 passes. So I think anytime you can get – so, again, if I'm talking to you about FFPC, I'm targeting Zach Ertz probably at the beginning of the second round.
Zach Ertz.
Happily, I will take him as my second or third guy if he were to fall there. 100 catches from a tight end position. It's unreal. He's going to do it again. I do have the concerns that Carson Wentz will not make it through the season because of the back problems. He's got paid. Who knows what he's doing in the offseason now, popping bottles, hanging out with strippers. Zach Ertz is my number 2 tight end. I think you got to put him in there, right, Sean?
Oh, yeah.
You got him at number 2?
No. But Zach Ertz did break the NFL record for season receptions.
Oh.
By a tight end. Did not make first or second team All-Pro.
Why are you getting upset about this?
Because George Kittle's a fraud. And I'm still mad at Pina for saying he deserved it over Zach Ertz. What, do you think I just forget stuff like that? Number 2, Travis Kelce.
Oh, you're wrong.
To me, the reason he's number 2 is concussion issues. And and I think the defense will focus on him a bit. Here's what's a best friend of a tight end is outside speed. If you have a guy, whether it be Deshaun Jackson, a Torrey Smith, a Tyrek Hill, having a Tyrek Hill on the field makes your job much, much easier because
true story.
It's just the way the safety has to play you. And if you're going up against safeties, you're going up against the fastest linebacker. You're just going to create more opportunities underneath. Tyrek Hill, I'm predicting, will be suspended by the NFL, possibly 8 games, maybe more. So I think that could have an impact a little bit on Kelce's productivity. Other than that, there's nothing really to be very negative about Travis Kelce. Like, the guy catches a ton. Andy Reid loves working him in the offense. He's also a guy, you want to talk about stealing tight ends, stealing touchdowns from running backs. They do love that little shuttle pass to Travis Kelce. They also, this is another good thing to look at, does the team run tight end screens? Some teams just don't run them at all. Andy Reid will incorporate a tight end screen into the playbook. Again, easy way to get easy yards and easy reception. So, yeah, give me Travis Kelce, number 2. Who I'm guessing is your number 1 tight end, Ryan?
Very easily, and I disagree with your take on Tyrek Hill. Tyrek Hill will miss time. Travis Kelce will absolutely see more targets because of it. And
yeah, and you're right. Maybe maybe it ends up being a positive. I could see it impacting a little bit though, negatively.
He is a freak. I will give you. He's had a couple concussions, but he had a very good year last year. 295 PPR points, and
yeah, I'm not trying to knock him that hard. I'm just saying why he's at number 2 and not 1.
If he does get those extra looks because of Tyrek Hill, I think he has a very, very legit shot to be the top scoring receiver, period. I think he could outscore every wide receiver. I absolutely think you can take Travis Kelce in the first round of your draft. In an FFPC format, where you're getting 1.5 PPR, definitely he's a first round pick.
You could make a KCB first overall if you're playing.
I think you got. I think you got a group of running backs you got to take first, but I would say once that initial group of running backs is taken.
But if you were at the number 12 slot,
How's the slot?
All day.
Would you take Travis Kelce?
I would
number 12 overall.
Yeah. In a standard
even
PPR
a
draft.
Full point PPR.
Yeah, I'm saying in a standard full point PPR, not an FFPC, I would absolutely take him in the first round. But I mean, I would go further here because we're going to talk about receivers in a bit. Which wide receiver are you taking before Travis Kelce?
That's a great question.
I think for me there's a couple in there, but it's a toss up. And I think the fact that he has a chance to outscore all of these guys, he's clearly the number 1 guy to me.
Well, my clear number 1, Zach Ertz. Again, set the record for the position for catches, which is a great metric for fantasy football.
Okay.
Deshaun Jackson is now on the outside. I think that's going to push safeties back. He has a ton of chemistry with Carson Wentz. And the guy catches everything. Like, his catch rate is off the charts. He doesn't drop balls. He's a huge part of their offense. He caught, the touchdown that put the Eagles up in the Super Bowl over the Patriots. Like, the guy is clutch in every sense. He's getting slightly better at yards after catch. But again, yardage isn't a huge metric even in fantasy. It helps, but really you're looking for catches and touchdowns. He's going to have a lot of both. So give me Zach Ertz, number 1 overall.
So just to recap, 2 Eagles in your top 10.
Yeah, I think they're going to – I don't have – breaking news, Ryan. I don't have any Eagles in my top 10 receivers.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, I'm this supposed crazy
That's not
homer.
a hot take. There's no Eagles that are any good at catching passes.
Alshon Jeffrey's not good.
Yeah, but we're talking about guys in like he's barely a wide receiver too, Sean.
Oh wow.
He's probably what 24th to. I'd have to pull up my rankings.
How dare
Sean,
you,
but
Ryan?
I'm gonna say Alshon Jeffrey's probably in the 27 range of my comprehension. Should I start posting my rankings?
Yeah, why not?
That would be interesting, right?
Yeah.
Think people would want to look at it? If you want to look at my rankings,
it's NFL content. Of course, people want to look at it.
Talk to my agent.
All right. Well, that about does it for our top 10 fantasy tight ends. This is great. This is just getting me fired up for football. We're gonna be cranking out a bunch of these, so stay tuned. Of course, subscribe on iTunes. Hey, you're listening to the end of the show here. That means you must like the show. Why not do us a solid? Make us in your top 10 podcast, not top 10 sports podcast, not top 10 sports gambling podcast. Get us in the top 10 of podcasts. And we need a good review. We need a 5-star. Make it funny, whatever you want. The funniest ones will always get t-shirts, which you can buy over at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/merch. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Get on our Instagram. Ton of exclusive content and posting a bunch of fun NFL college football videos over there as we count down to the season starting. Kramer.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
You don't want to talk about some late round steals at the tight end position, Sean?
Oh, yes. Throw out some who's not on your top 10 that you wish you would have possibly included.
I'm going to throw out some guys that you're going to hear people talking about. I will once again throw out Ricky Seals-Jones. Maybe Kyler Murray will find a way to use him. All right. Serious ones. Noah Fant. I know Joe Flacco, maybe he hasn't had super productive tight ends, but that's certainly an interesting opportunity for the first-round pick. I think another guy who, he's old as shit, but Jimmy Graham he's going late. He's like the 20th tight end. I think you can do worse than Jimmy Graham on Green Bay. I know he's a ginger. Go with it.
I'll throw in Trey Burton. I think he was a little underused. He didn't crack our top 10 here, but again, he just seems like, you're Mitch Trubisky.
Yep.
You're going to need some easy throws. Mitch had a couple of games where he balled out, but I think Trey Burton underused.
Mitchell. Yeah,
Mitchell Trubisky underused, and they could look to use him a little bit more. So Trey Burton, I'd give him a shot. And Hayden Hurst, again, he was the rookie for the Ravens, had some injuries, had trouble getting out there his rookie year, but they invested a high pick in him. We'll see what their offense looks like. I think they have some retooling to do over there in Baltimore, but Hayden Hurst is a guy that could make some noise too. He's a guy maybe if you're just gonna punt on the tight end position, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you do, like if the tier 1 guys. Zach Ertz and Travis Kelce and not George Kittle. If you're in that and you miss out on the 2 or 3 tier or even the 2 tier, you could do. I think Hayden Hurst could be a little sneaky play.
A couple other guys I do like. Dallas Goedert later. For a lot of the reasons you said, I just don't think he's the top 10 guy. I actually like another guy in Baltimore. That's Mark Andrews.
Okay.
I think.
See, this is what's and again, this is what's awesome about the preseason is.
You can have an opinion.
Well, you can watch the games, you can get a little sense, but really, if you read the local beat writers, that's why Reddit's really good. If you really want to know your shit, if you really want to find out, like, oh wait, I'm just randomly on the Chicago Bears subreddit, and every one of these articles keeps mentioning that Tariq Cohen's going to be used as a receiver.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, hey, I should hype him up. And then you put him in your DraftKings lineup and you win $200,000. That's the kind of research and dedication you want to do.
Can barely remember that. Last guy I'll throw out there, this is more of a best ball pick, someone I've been grabbing as like my third or fourth tight end, Mike Gesicki. He's one of these guys, freakish
Penn
athlete.
State guy.
Looked like didn't look like he belonged on the NFL field, but maybe something clicks. Maybe Fitzmagic gets him going. He's certainly a guy where if you don't have to decide to start him and you just get the points if he has a blowout game, like he's a fun guy. One guy I'm going to throw out there who I don't think you should take at all, Jared Cook. I just don't.
Yeah, I'm not high.
I just don't. I mean, I think I did some research. I wrote nothing down though, Sean, about this, and I don't think Drew Brees creates productive tight ends.
Yeah,
I think that's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
He had a great year last year. He's not someone I'm looking to draft this year.
To me, if you have a great year on a shitty team and then you sign a big deal and go to a good team, the productivity never carries over.
So
right?
outside of Jimmy Graham, from 2011 to 2014, when he was the tight end 1 or tight end 2 every year, he has had one tight end that's finished in the top 10, and that was Ben Watson in 2015. So
yeah.
Now, granted, Jared Cook is a different kind of tight end, but I don't know. I don't know how multi-dimensional.
I'm not taking a shot.
He's in a lot of people's top 10 rankings. I just think he's the guy I'm staying away from.
Okay. Awesome.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
And remember, subscribe. Watch me drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee and sit in my golf outfit as recording this podcast. YouTube.com/Sports Gambling Podcast. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into the podcast. Rate, review, and share on iTunes. For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I am Sean, stacking the money green, and he is Ryan.
We can just call it a golf shirt, not an outfit, Sean.
Kramer. Let it ride.